Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome, viewers. This is iAfrica TV in our studios in Banjul, broadcasting from Wellingara. So today, with me is our guest to discuss the continuation of a week-long daily updates since the coronavirus hits. So therefore, we are back again, just like we did some minutes ago, to continue the special edition to discuss coronavirus, especially as soon as it hits the Gambia. Today, we're not going to talk about much about deaths and cases, but the transformations and the opportunity that it is bringing in disguise to these situations. So joining us is a whole lot of panel, and I will take time to introduce them. On my immediate left is Mukhtar SK's Manjang, who is a student in Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the coronavirus. You will wonder why is he here with me, but it's a lucky case that I am blessed to be with tonight. Mukhtar, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Ibrahim.
Next to him is our permanent secretary at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Abubakar Sisao, who has joined in to disclose the package for education in the country. Abubakar, welcome.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
Yes. So we have the Gambia Teachers Union Deputy Secretary General who is with me, and when we talk about teacher, it is the GTU that explains their roles and responsibility and mandates in this country. And it is my pleasure to have SSO.
Thank you.
And then Sandiki Jai has been always with me, and as an independent analyst is part of the iAfrica family on almost all sorts of analysis as far as the coronavirus is concerned. And this is his contribution to the nation. Sandiki, you are highly welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we will take it up from there, and then, as we know, the government of the Gambia suspended all forms of public gatherings, including the closure of all schools, including universities, some almost 1 week ago now. And this is due to the coronavirus, with a high number of deaths that amounts to more than 8,000 globally. So the cases are multiplying, countries are shutting down borders, there are lockdowns all over. So what is happening in the Gambia actually is a bit of different case. The Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education says as students are not able to go to school, then schools will go to homes. This is an interesting scenario that I think the PS is here to happily explain to us. So we read the press release that explains some of the concepts, so we just want to find out as to the origin of the idea first before we further the discussion on PS.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. Yes, we are all currently faced with a very difficult situation. That's the corona pandemic. And apart from the health issue, it also have implications both on the economy as well as on education. And as a stakeholder, the Minister of Education felt they should do something about the situation. Everybody will realize that currently schools are closed, and they are closed for the next 21 days. And if you convert this into hours, instructional hours is about 72 hours that we are going to lose for the next 21 days if nothing is done about this. For the Minister of Education, this is a very big thing, and we felt something must be done about this. And therefore, as we discussed it at the management level, and also then later invited the stakeholders, we felt if schools are closed, children are at home, we should design a means of getting to the children at home. So this is where the idea came up. We felt, we looked at various mechanisms of getting that possible. And one thing we felt we have at our disposal is televisions and radios at home. Even though many people will say they are inadequate, this is true, they are inadequate, but at least some households do have them. And if you check the statistics for television, the coverage may not be wide, but at least for radios, the current or the most recent MIC report suggested that at least 92% of the household in the Gambia has telephones. And if we say 92% of the household have telephones in their house, that also means that indirectly they have radios, because most of these telephones also goes with radios. So that also you complement with the normal radios that we have in the household. So when we thought of that, we felt, yes, then this is an opportunity for the ministry to record lessons using experienced teachers, and then collaborate with the media, that's television and the radio proprietors, so that this lesson can be delivered to the children at home. We felt this is possible because if we get the support of the stakeholders and then help guide the children and prepare them according to the program, the children should be able to receive some form of education while at home.
Okay, so you just mentioned about the number of hours involved for within 21 days is a huge period as far as teaching and learning is concerned. So could you translate this into the coverage of syllabus technically? What does it mean when it, how much would it consist for a school in terms of coverage?
Well, in a school day, we expect the child to cover minimum 5 hours, 5.5 hours instructional time. So if you convert that, if you calculate that over a week, then over the 21 days, we're talking of nothing less than 72 hours of instructional time, and this to the large extent will mean a lot of coverage as far as the curriculum is concerned. So, and for the ministry, the target for the year is nothing less than 880 instructional hours. Okay. So if you lose 72 hours out of that, it's a huge gap. Yeah. So that in essence we are saying is a very big time wasted if we didn't act to minimize that loss.
Yeah. So that is the situation on the ground, that schools have been shut down, universities are down, and learning is not taking place physically, but the Ministry of Education is coming up with this idea to definitely make sure that students continue to benefit from their teachers, and then the ministry is spearheading everything. So how it works will be domesticated tonight in the show. But before then, Asa, so you are from the Gambia Teachers Union. So how is this message received by teachers or at the union?
Thank you very much, Mr. Bob. Actually, we are really concerned because this is a national issue. So at the level of the Gambia Teachers Union, we see this as education in emergency. And basically, the teachers being the implementing agents of the policy or the curriculum are directly affected as far as this case is concerned. PS mentioned the amount of the time being lost. That is the 72 hours. That translates into about 8% of the total minimum number of hours required to at least cover the curriculum. So we received it with great sense of, we were worried at the beginning, but realized that we need to confront the challenges. So when we were invited by the permanent secretary to that brainstorming exercise to map out strategies and then come up with something else that probably would help us to mitigate this factor, we were more than willing. And as I speak to you, we've had almost 4 to 5 engagements since on Monday on matters related to mitigating the impact of COVID-19. I just want to quickly say that not only are we losing 72, but the timing. This is coming at a very critical moment when schools are about to sit to their mock exams, second term exams, grade 9 exams, and apparently grade 12 exams as well. So the timing also is very critical as far as the sector is concerned.
Okay, before we go to Sandiki, we just come back to the PS and then ask whether was this a ready-made package that the ministry had as a contingency plan that you just have to implement now, or it is something you start building up?
Well, even before this emergency, you will realize that MOPSI even already had a television, and we were also working on having radio stations all over the country. And the intention is also to start using medium, TV, as a means of delivering lessons. So the intention has already been there. But then the urgency of this pandemic make it a situation of emergency, so we had to quickly adjust our space because we are taking our time so that the moment once we hit the ground running, we get it right. But because of this situation now, it's like we had to rush everything because we felt the need has come to launch or to delve into the situation. And yes, the recording has started before, but it is also continuing.
Okay. The form we'll get to the frame, but just quickly on the stakeholders, who is involved in the arrangement of this learning methodology that we are about to implement. Who are the stakeholders?
Basically, the ministry and the teachers, but of course, yes, the Gambia Teachers Union has always been supportive. These are stakeholders that anytime the ministry has an issue, we will always rush to them. And then together we come up with strategies. So yeah, basically these are the key players in the design of the whole affair.
So actually the coronavirus has shut down many schools, and then I'm fortunate to be with one student here who was on scholarship in China, you know, in a medical student in Wuhan, the epicenter of the coronavirus. Muta SK Manjang, you are in Gambia. How do you find your way here?
Thank you, Ibrahima. Well, I just consider myself as a lucky person because anyway, I have heard about the outbreak, but that was just the beginning. But by then, people couldn't define what actually it was. So, I mean, that's the very time I left Wuhan before the town was even locked.
Okay.
So it was just at the beginning, just after our first semester final exams. So there's this time, like the rumors were going on that there is pneumonia that is just spreading so quickly. And by that time, we are even also having our internship in one of the main hospitals in Wuhan, Sehe, and so that's the Union Hospital.
Okay.
So like some of the doctors, they will tell you, you don't have to come to the hospital because there is pneumonia just spreading like that. But by then they couldn't define what actually it was. So it was just after my arrival in the Gambia, just a few weeks, I had that Wuhan is already locked because of a viral disease.
Okay, that was during your holiday when you were already in the Gambia. Okay, we will discuss what measures have been taken by your new university right now. You want to disclose the name of your university and then?
Yeah, the name of my university is Huazhong University of Science and Technology. Yeah, it's one of the best universities in China, especially in the Hubei province. Is the top university, and I mean, like the whole issue is like they are the one that is taking responsible of everything because. Like most of the medical persons, they are all, like majority of them could be like graduate from the university because like it is also affiliated to most of these big hospitals that I've just mentioned. Okay. So it's like they were the one who were just taking care of the situation. Then the whole country collaborates. That's the time you have other medical specialists from other part of the country, and they come together to fight the disease together. Okay.
As to what measures are being taken right now to continue learning in China, Mukhtar is here just to explain structurally. Sandigi, now you've seen the initiative coming up in Gambia by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. How would you describe this?
Good evening, viewers, wherever you are. First and foremost, I think we need to commend MOPSI for coming up with such a great initiative. As the saying goes, necessity is always the mother of invention. Due to emergency situation, they did not just sit at the comfort of their office and allow students to wait 21 days for that matter, because we all know COVID-19 is here, which has caused schools to be temporarily closed. And as I always allude, who knows next what? Whether we're going to have another extension or school will open soon after the 21 days. Because as of now, we cannot ascertain, because there are people, already someone has been pronounced as positive, and there are other samples in the lab, so we don't know exactly what, so we cannot draw a conclusion. But notwithstanding, I think we would still like to know more about this initiative. It's an opportunity that the emergency has created for MOPSI, but have they look at the lapses? Knowing students, we've all passed through that cycle. Would students take great care to be attentive at home? Would the environment be conducive? If they didn't pick up what is being transmitted through the radio, who would they ask? There is no teacher, for that matter, directly to have a direct contact. So these and other issues.
Just maybe on the concept right now, you know, right now the lockdown, you know, cut across both. You know, public gatherings have been banned by the government. So because of this, you know, big institutions, including the National Assembly, have suspended sessions. You know, you have the TRRC, a transitional justice, have suspended. So this is a ministry that is also seemingly somehow a public gathering. Wouldn't you have think that they should also lock down and go home?
I think if, as a ministry, if the lockdown entirely sit back at the homes, we've just seen the press release from WAS that the exam is suspended. So the same thing would happen to the young people. They would not transit to the next level. So this is why this innovation came in. But at the end of the day, it's also, if you look at your strength as well, you need to look at your
okay, you're calling a bailout for the meantime. No, as far as the strengths and weaknesses are there, we come back to PS. PS, this is your day, because, you know, this is very innovative and is on Gambian, if I want to quote, that is just new. Now, what are the process involved now? Now that, you know, students know that even at home they will learn. So what process is there for them?
Anything, the fact that the children, if we have the cooperation of the parents, the fact that the children are confined into the house or moving out, that itself, if you look at it from the health perspective, is an achievement. And the fact that they have taken at least 1 hour of their time, listen to an education program on a radio, on a television, is achieved. So generally something is going to be achieved out of this. That's my argument. But it's not a perfect situation.
Okay.
And the reason why it's not a perfect situation is because the country is limited in many. There will be households without radio or television. We usually have situation of electricity problem. So these are challenges that are beyond MOPSI's control. But as a ministry, we cannot say that because these challenges are there, we just have to fold our hands and do nothing about the situation. We will go into it. At least if we have 10% success out of it, for us at least something has been achieved. It's better than not doing anything at all. So we felt it will even be more than that, because as I already gave in the statistics, there would be many households with televisions. There will be many households, many households with radio, especially if you consider radio as a radio and telephone. So with regards to clarifications, yeah, these are things that we also discuss. Teachers will be at their houses, note down issues, have one-on-one with their teachers for clarification on certain points. Okay. But this is just one aspect of the scheme that which discussed in public. Okay. And in addition to this, we are also encouraging, especially senior secondary schools, to create study groups using WhatsApps and other social platforms. So currently, most of the senior secondary schools have done that. So the teachers will create a study group with their students, and they are, as we are talking, as of now, they are communicating and then discussing lessons on those platforms. But this is not adequate, because we all know how challenging internet could be in this country. And then most of also the student may not have access to smartphone. So because of that limitation, we could not rely on that entirely, but we had to resort to this kind of scheme.
Yeah,
so
you are speaking but in both ends, both the positive side at the same time the negative side. So he's doing part of my job for me. And then, Mr. So, you know, how would teachers receive this? How would teachers receive this?
Let me begin by saying that when we met on that fateful day, we were able to come up with 3 main objectives. One, first and foremost, it was to ask ourselves, what do we do to ensure that the children, the teachers, and the education administrators are safe? So safety first. So this is why, in terms of strategy, there are 2 approaches. One is messaging, 2 is curriculum content delivery. So in terms of the messaging, you want that a message is developed to urge parents and the general public to ensure that the kids are kept in their homes. So the objective number 2 is to make sure that, like you rightly said, alluded to, bringing the school to the home, literally speaking, is to ensure that learning continues. So that while the kids are at home, lessons and programs are developed. For example, a timetable has been developed, whereas every day, 7 days in a week, from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock midday, 4 to 6 every day, there will be at least 1 lesson delivered on at least one of the levels or subjects that would be shared from Monday for people to know. And this schedule is supposed to be presented for people to have access to and know when and certain programs will be coming. And then the 3rd level is to ensure that there is relevant and timely receipt of information. For example, you see, this is, as I said, education in emergency. So safety first. And then, even though there are strategies to bring about the issue of curriculum-related issues, but because of the challenges like inadequate infrastructure, the resources are not there, the capacity is not there, so you couldn't do as much as we may desire. And then it was a blessing in disguise that one of the strategies was to advocate for the grade 12 exams to be delayed, and we got the communication today. So that is even reducing the pressure. Now, how do we receive it? Technically, one thing that we have done is to graduate the teachers into another level as parents. More often than not, we don't even categorize them as parents. So they have that parents, and their second role has to come into play, because we don't also want to come up with something else that will expose the teachers to this unfortunate situation. So as a result, the teachers are there, one, to help develop, not every teacher, so to speak, the content, help in the designation of the content and monitoring, because there's also a system that we are working, this committee is working on, using the UNICEF EU report. It mentioned the Gambia teachers, we have UNICEF. UNICEF, we even extended invitation to the Gambia Press Union, all other major stakeholders in this country, so that this radio that he's talking about, in our strategy today, we're trying to see if we can get 10,000 cordless mobile phones, those 400 or 350 thereabout, where the child will be able to receive the text message, respond to those questions, and as well as use it to access the local community radio, within his or her jurisdiction. Because we did an analysis and realized that out of the mixed report, we should target almost 120,000 households to make sure that we bridge the gap. But then, we have to also allow ourselves, after the first week, to do some analysis to assess the impact of our strategies, because these are gray area. We have to be honest to one another. It's a gray area.
So just quickly, because what is normal in schools is that to have thousands of teachers daily preparing lesson plans. They have schemes of works, and this is what they present physically in the classroom. Now that this is more of through radios, so how is the recording or involvement of teachers to make sure that the packages are ready? How is it done? How did you receive this?
No, actually, you have a whole director responsible for in-service, a unit within your directorate. And as he rightly said, already these open source materials were already developed. So what they are doing these days at the Science Center is to upgrade that to respond to the current syllabus or programs within our school system. It's not a matter of continuing the syllabus. Do that because we believe in a lot of people behind. But there are a lot of, unprepared lesson is an unsuccessful one. But as professionals, they're going to work around some lessons, that would be presented. There will be rhymes, there will be songs, there will be a lot of issues that will be presented that will definitely engage the kids. What is important here is the kids to go back and stay in their houses. You need to come up with something else that will engage them. Otherwise, you'll find them in the football fields or in the streets.
Yes, with effect from Monday, online classes will be conducted for students through the radios and the mass media, such that the hours of 10 to 12 afternoon and 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening are designated only for these programs. So just PS, now what is the relationship with the media? Because I know the media that belongs to the ministry is not seen operational. Is it activated, or you using the mainstream media like iAfrica TV, for example?
Well, unfortunately, we invited and you never came.
I was at the airport.
Okay. But yes, we invited the media. Yes, we have a TV, but we know, like you said, it's not adequate. And most people are not tuning into that TV for now because it's not fully operational. But we invited the radios and the televisions, like the QTVs, the GRTS, the community radios, and other popular radio stations. We had about 2 meetings with them, and then the response we got from them is very positive. Okay. So they are very ready.
Can you describe the nature of presentations? Would it be like the teachers being in the studios, or that will interact directly with the students who will be the audience? How is it structured for now?
Now you are making me a technician. Yeah, we have a technical team that is working on that. But I think what we will do, already we identified experienced teachers, and they are the Science Center with the communication team. So they are doing the recording there. So these teachers will do a demo of the lessons, and then those recording will be delivered to the stations to be played.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, Sandiki, you got the concept now, and you are eager to ask questions as to how would it work. Now, what is in your mind now about this?
As I alluded before, the ministry needs to be commended for that, but we would still like the ministry to engage. We would still like the ministry to engage the Ministry of Information in regards to connectivity, strengthening internet connections. It is happening. It is happening. The world is evolving around that level. We have to take this thing serious. I think this year, I even personally went with a partner to the ministry, selling a similar idea, more sophisticated than this one, for that matter.
In your capacity as who?
As a son of an educationist, who loved what is happening around that end, sit around my own comfort zone with my partner. We assess what is happening. We say, now, why can't we try to create a platform whereby a student, as far as BASE, if at all they have deficiency in or shortfalls of qualified or quality teachers who are very good to instruct in English, we could have a teacher here who could deliver the lesson from this end, record it, and send. It could be interactive as well. So the student, as far as BASE and the whole of Gambia, could connect through that platform and have 1 hour or 2 interact with one of the best, for instance, science teacher or English teacher. We went to the ministry, and it was highly welcome. because we're still working on trying to perfect some of the situations before we go back to the ministry, because we as a son of an educationist, we still have a role to play, and building up the country is a process.
Does it somehow means that it is your idea that is being domesticated now by the ministry?
It's just falling on the same line, because trying to create access is the whole concept, but innovation, revolution of IT. Yeah, because I mean, sometimes, okay, let's say if you assess education, the just results that came out, most of the time you find some of the best students around here. So who knows what is a study conducted
around here means
Greater Banjul area, per se,
Banjul
example.
area.
Yes, so we also complement them. For that matter, you may miss one of the best teachers around here. You could just sit at the comfort of your to the teacher speaking live, or deliver lessons that could be recorded, and you have access to it. You can drop questions, teacher could respond, and at the same time you could have even access to some of, no, let me not just give my ideas before Esa picks it up.
But you a son of educationist, as you claim that, so that is your role. Mukhtar, now we want you to explain a bit of in China, your university, how since after the outbreak, how are they coping? Are you in touch with your colleagues who are in the university there?
Yeah, I am in touch with my colleagues. I talk with them almost every day. In fact, we have a group that is created well before the outbreak, where you have only the Gambians, and also we have another group that is for all Gambians in China.
What are these groups?
So that, like, it's only the students. Like, we have students in
social media groups.
Yeah, in WeChat we have Gambians in Wuhan, and we have another one, Gambians in China. So in Gambians in Wuhan, like every day they give updates, like on the outbreaks, and also like in the university, because it's a very good university. So like immediately after the outbreak, the university have like just started the online classes, because it was just after the end of the first semester. So when the semester starts, they also start the online classes as soon as possible, and it's very successful, because I mean China is ahead of like many other countries. So like the facilities are available, so they could able to like make those arrangements, and it was, I believe it's going successful. Actually more effective, like going to classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just describe a bit of the nature of the online classes. Is it something that the lecturers are giving lessons according to their normal conventional schedules, or there is a bit of changes?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's quite inconvenient for me, because China is 8 hours ahead of Gambia. So it's like when they are conducting the classes, like normally around 10, 11, 12. So that's only late night, 2, 3, towards 4. So unfortunately, I am always unable to attend the classes, but the teachers are very active. They always send me the PPTs, also the videos. So that's what I usually use, but I cannot actually attend the online classes. But it's always like that, the class is online, so you have a screen where the teacher is talking. If you have your laptop, you use that, and the lesson will be going on. If you have a question, you can just pause it on it. But unfortunately, I can't attend the class because of time difference.
But you are making up the lecture. School is allowing you to do some makeups, and then when there are assessment, you can still participate and have your grades. Is it like that?
Yeah, no, actually, because like